All right, so let's call the meeting to order. It is 10:09. Only 9 minutes to get us set up with new technology. That's great. So the first thing we have is introductions, and I can start us off. So I'm Sheila McCrevin, member of the Board of Selectmen. Beth has asked me to chair this committee, and I served on the previous building committee that actually got the project done in 2013 through 15. I think it took a few years there, but we had met for,
I want to say we have about 90 building committee meeting minutes.
I think that's true. I don't think that's an exaggeration.
It's not an exaggeration. There's about 90 of them.
Yes, yes. So, and
That's
that
commitment.
probably started in 2011.
Oh, yeah,
And
probably.
he created the committee then.
Yeah.
So we are well versed in the amount of time it might take to get projects done, but hopefully we're going to fast track this one. So let's go around this way. Tony.
Tony Genovese, I'm the finance director and administrative officer for the town.
Beth Heller for selectmen. Thank you all, by the way, for agreeing to serve the committee members and for Christine being here and Tony and everyone else who's joining us. Have to get this done and I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Christine Syriac, interim superintendent. Thank you for including me.
Okay, great. And then Donovan, and then Jeff.
So Donovan, well, you guys who don't know me, I serve on the board of finance with Tony, and I also serve on another housing committee board, and I've served on economic mission. So yeah, nice to meet you guys.
That's great. And Donovan, do you have children at the school now?
I have two kids in Beecher. I have a 4-year-old who's in pre-K, and I have a 8-year-old which just started 2nd grade.
Fantastic. All right, and then Jeff.
Great. I'm Jeff Hughes. I sit on the Woodbridge Board of Education, and I also have 2 children at Beecher.
All right, and you are also chair of the facilities committee there, is that correct?
That is correct.
Right, excellent.
For the Board of Ed.
It's, yes, very good to have that connection on this building committee, because that just reduces the, and improves the coordination. So terrific. Thanks everyone for joining us. And the next item on our agenda is consideration action to set meeting dates. So let's talk about this hybrid meeting. The way we're set up this way, we can continue to do this so that people can both join digitally or be here in the room. The drawback of being in the room is most of us are feeling like we want to be safe and we're wearing masks. So now you can't see half of our faces. So perhaps we should go to fully remote if we can't do fully in person, or we can continue as hybrid. So what is the sense of committee members, how you'd like to proceed?
The reason why I'm hybrid or remote is the sense for me was the time. It's like 10 a.m. on a Friday, which I'm actually working. So if it's after work hours, I could be in person, no problem. If these meetings are going to be midday, early morning, I may or may not be able to be in person, depending on.
Right. So that's the other dimension, of course, is when do we do it? And then maybe we should talk about that first, and then we can decide who, whether people want to join remotely or not. Jeff, did you have thoughts about remote versus in person, or should we just talk about time first?
I'm with Donovan. Due to work commitments, hybrid works well for me. And I think it's the type of meeting that hybrid would be successful as well.
Yeah. All right, so especially when we may have documents that we want to take a look at as a group, at least that's how the last building committee worked. So I can do that easier when I'm joining electronically than when I'm in person, actually. So now the other aspect of this is what time of day and what day of the week and how frequently. So I can tell you that the last building committee used to meet on, I think it was Friday morning.
Friday mornings, yeah.
And we would do it early. We would do it even earlier than
8 a.m. we used to meet.
Yeah.
But that's when we had in person, right?
Yeah.
That's when we had we had the ability for virtual meetings was non-existent. So
right.
That's why we used to do it early for work schedules.
Right.
But because of the virtual aspect to it, that might not be necessary.
Yeah. So we are free to do it at any time. Christine, what's your availability? Because it is important to have someone from Beecher, and it doesn't necessarily need to be you, but if you feel like you want to attend.
My schedule's fairly flexible, provided it is not when there's already Board of Education meetings, et cetera, you know,
Right,
then
right,
it would be fine. So I would be able to fit my schedule around whatever the committee decides.
All right. Virtual attendees, if we were to meet at, say, 8 AM, is that helpful in your schedule? Is that not helpful? Is that, and continue to have a virtual portion of the meeting at least?
That's very helpful for me. I would assume these meetings run about an hour. If that's the case, yeah, 8 AM is perfect for me.
Okay, Donovan, does that interfere with getting the kids on the bus, that kind of thing?
Uh, well, or sleep, but yeah, 8 AM is fine. 10 AM is perfect. But 8 AM is fine.
I'm okay with 10 too. I work from home on Friday. I'm technically taking my lunch hour right now, so I can do that at 10 if that works. But Jeff, I don't know, is that,
10 is fine.
As I get into the workday a little bit harder, I can't really have a set schedule, so I would prefer the 8. But again, if I have to miss a meeting or two because of it, I understand.
yeah. I think I'm more comfortable with 8 too. If that's all right with you, Tony, and you could.
So 8 AM is, probably depends on the day, depends on the act, I may be late.
Right.
It's sometimes hard for me to get here by 8, but, you know, like when I get here, I get here.
So the other option is to be fully
Oh
virtual.
yeah. So there's the your commute.
Yeah.
That's all,
Right.
yeah. That's tough to call. Yeah, you have to be up at 6:37 to get there by 8. Yeah.
What if
That's
we
very
asked you
tough.
to do it from home and then commute? Is that disruptive or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably join, like,
8:39.
8:30 is perfect. I'm always here by 8:30.
Yeah.
Or, it's just, you know, sometimes 8:15, sometimes 8:20, sometimes 8:10, sometimes 8, just all depends on the
Yeah.
activity. That's all.
8:30.
You guys 30,
8:30.
is that enough time?
Yeah, 8:30 works for me, depending on the day of the week. If it's meeting an hour.
So if we were sticking with Fridays, would that work?
I unfortunately can't do Fridays or Tuesdays at 8:30.
Okay. How about Thursday? Thursday,
Okay with me, yeah.
8:30?
Thursdays work.
And now we have to talk about frequency. So, well, actually, let's,
Maybe in the beginning, there's going
Right.
to be more things, and then as
Oh.
things start to
right,
rock and roll, it'll be less, you know, maybe, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
In the beginning, you have to get up and everybody's gotta be brought up to speed, and it probably takes more meetings.
right.
I don't know, you've done this before, so.
Yeah, I would say we should start with at least every other Thursday.
And we had, I know Donna is, obviously working remotely,
Right.
but we had the business manager in a lot of meetings as part of the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I
various
was going to
reasons.
ask if I could have her join.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes. Okay.
Because, for a
And
lot
also
of
there'll be the
reasons.
continuity too,
Yeah,
because when I
yeah.
step away, she'll be able to fill in the
Definitely.
new person.
And hopefully she's familiar with the building, with the process for grants, state grants and all that, yeah.
This
Is
is
that
all
fun
public
part?
anyway, it's, you know, completely, anybody can pop in
Yes.
and tune in or.
Yes, we'll make sure
tune
that
in, tune
people
out,
know
yeah, so.
they can watch, except
But
when we,
having her at the table, I think is,
Yeah.
you know, and there might be somebody else that needs to pop in, veto maybe if something.
Yeah.
Right.
absolutely,
Everybody has their area
Yes.
of expertise,
Correct.
depending on what you're talking about, you can invite other folks in,
right.
you know.
And the only time we would go into executive session and not be in public is when we're discussing security matters.
Right.
But we'll schedule those for the end or beginning of a meeting so that it's clear that people can join after we're done with that section or before we're getting to that. All right, so why don't we say, for now, we'll do every other Thursday, 8:30 AM. And we'll file that with the town clerk so that they're kind of our regular meeting dates. And we will potentially cancel as we get it, you know, once we get started and we get a few things in the works, we may not need to meet twice per month. We may opt to go to just once per month. But I think if we start off by saying twice per month on Thursday at 8:30 AM. Does that sound reasonable, folks?
Sounds good.
See, so when I look in this direction, I'm looking at a monitor that shows you guys, so that's, it's a little disorienting. All right, so if that's the case, let's, I guess I would entertain a motion to set our regular meetings for every other Thursday, 8:30 AM.
Beginning what, October 13th or?
I would say October 13th.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Good, yeah.
Okay, and we'll do them as hybrid meetings. So would someone like to make that motion?
I can make the motion to every other Thursday, starting October 13th at 8:30.
Okay, terrific. Can we get a second for that?
Second.
Okay, all those in
I
favor?
can't, it's just the three of you.
Yeah, so it's just the three of us as members who will vote on this. So all those in favor, I think we can do it by hand rather than roll call because we can see everybody. Okay, so that is unanimous. Thank you. Now, discuss requirements for filing meeting minutes and agendas. As we just took a motion and I watched everyone jot it down, we do need to make sure we're filing our meeting minutes. So what do you all think about, do you want a committee member to do that? Can we have like staff? I don't know.
We're bare bones.
Right.
You know Betsy
I
left,
do know.
Tony and I. are
Yeah,
there. And Jerry Shaw's doing, we've divided up some stuff with Tony Belinsky and Jerry Shaw to
Okay.
keep us moving. We are doing the musts that we need to do right now. We're triaging as they
I can
come
imagine.
in nurse terms. So
All right,
it's a little bit, maybe as,
Yeah.
in a month or two, when we get up to speed again, we can help out.
yeah, so we know the legal requirement is simply motions.
Yeah.
But agenda, who attended,
Right.
motions.
Right.
So if one of the committee could do.
Yeah,
that.
I'm comfortable with doing that
Great.
because I did it for the other
You know
building
the
committee.
rules.
Yeah, I was actually secretary, I think, of that
Yeah.
committee, but I don't think
Yeah.
we necessarily need a secretary for this. So I will take notes and turn them around in
Is she
a timely
recording
fashion.
these?
This is recorded,
Great, so that way folks can see the actual meetings if they
Exactly.
want to without,
if you keep the recording around forever.
yep, there you
So
go.
That's a
Wonderful.
different piece of the pie, but what's required is to get the minutes down to the town clerk.
Right.
All right, so let's now go
And before I
to,
forget,
Yeah.
I think I spoke with you before the meeting, that the town clerk's office needs the name of the committee to be shortened.
next item on our agenda. So we'll
There you
talk
go.
about
'Cause it won't
the,
fit on the webpage apparently.
so both the charge to the committee and I think the name of the committee
So
we
we can
can,
do that.
we can discuss here.
Good.
So I would like to propose that we call it the Town Building Committee for Beecher Capital Projects. So that's just two words. And we can take out Beecher, I think we can take out Road School from the title if that's too long.
Beecher School,
Beecher School,
because there is a Beecher Road,
sure, Beecher School
there's Beecher
Capital.
Trees, there's,
Projects.
it's up to you guys, but.
And they can also abbreviate it to TBC. I think that's how it used to be, Town Building Committee. We need that in the name. Because I think infrastructure sort of focuses more on the building than we want it to, and I think that we have some grounds maintenance, things that we're gonna probably rise to capital projects, so I think capital projects might be better. Plus, I don't want anyone to confuse it with the last round of the renovation that was done at the school. I think we, at one time, called that the Infrastructure Building
Uh-huh.
Committee too, so we
We
don't,
did, correct.
yeah, so this is not the same committee.
So it's now called what?
Town Building Committee for Beecher School Capital Projects. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Okay. All right, and then the charge. So the other item that should be in the charge, I don't know if you guys got a copy of our charge.
Yep, I have it.
Yes.
Great. So I think it is under responsibilities. Beth, did you want to speak to what we should add here?
Yeah, when the Board of Selectmen did this at our, when we approved it, I think we voted to approve it.
Yes.
It
we
was
did.
under Jerry,
Yeah,
it was
we
under
did.
town
Mhm.
council, we went over all this, and since then, we realized either inadvertently or, well, the usual is, I forgot, I don't know, I'm willing to fall on my sword, it's easy. There are some definite, and we've received a preliminary report on security updates that are needed definitely at Beecher Road School, so we'd like to add that to the charge.
So
If any way that you want to word it would be okay.
how about,
Perhaps what you, Christine, maybe you could speak to how, what it's going to include, or, you know, without, obviously, I know the report is sealed at this point.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it'll be really about, a technology security upgrade.
okay, so can we say, and necessary security upgrades? And we just add that to the end of number
and you
4.
want the word technology in there as
Well,
well.
as long as the committee understands that's what
Yeah.
it's going to involve,
That's fine.
that's,
Just keep security then.
Yeah, I think
Technology.
security,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just something else.
Right.
Yep.
So,
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
All
And
right,
I think there are some other rules.
Jeff, does that sound good to you?
Absolutely.
Technology and security, just to make sure we've got everything covered.
well, did we say technology or just necessary security
I'm just-
upgrades? That,
I would say just security.
Okay.
Security.
Dropped it, that technology.
yeah, and I think upgrades, because it's an existing system that we're upgrading, I think
Correct.
that's useful.
And those will be discussed, as I understand, in executive session, depending on
Yes,
what they apply to with security to that,
yes,
just for you guys.
oh, yeah.
Okay, I won't
Yeah,
get into
because
this.
it's an exception to the FOI rules, anytime you're discussing security
Right.
arrangements, that you
Right.
can go into executive
Yeah.
session to keep that from the public.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, I'll make the motion to append to the end of number 4 under responsibilities.
Actually, I have a question
Sure.
before you start that.
Yeah.
So I have another topic for number 4 that the
Okay.
committee should consider.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to do them separately or do them at the same time. You do them separately if you want.
Yeah.
So, we have a preliminary draft report, which,
Oh.
you'll be seeing
Here we
probably.
go.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
For the pool. And there are some short-term, medium-term, and long-term fixes that need to take place if the pool is going to survive into the future. And you know, if you read the report, you'll see that, you know, some of them need to be done right away, and others within the next 5, 3, 5, 8 years.
Okay.
Or the pool will be has reached its useful life. So there's some areas that have concrete rebars exposed that need to be fixed. Some areas that are, could potentially leak.
Right.
So there's, those don't have to be done right away,
Right,
but there are a few mechanically related things that need to be done right away.
right. So the history of this is the exact same thing that happened to the other building committee. We had the pool added and then we had security added.
You're right. You're right. That's funny.
So,
Comes around, comes around.
exactly.
Go again.
And we did obviously do some work at the time of the renovation on the pool, and at the
Right.
time, we knew that there would be continuing needs.
That's correct. We did, at the time, we did the dehumidification unit, which is working very well, thankfully. And some other like ventilation and related items, yeah.
All right, so with that, let's say, I'll make a motion that we add to the end of number 4, and necessary pool and security upgrades. How does that sound? All right, can we have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Perfect. And I'm taking notes, so let me, get that there. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Good, all right, thank you, that's unanimous as well. And that is the end of what we're
Did you vote on
planning
the other
to do
one for
today.
security?
Yes, we
You
did.
okay.
Yeah, so it's together, it's one
Gotcha.
motion to add necessary pool and security upgrades, and Beth, this is something we're gonna, we're recommending to the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen will
Absolutely,
act.
and our meeting is October 12th, which is
Perfect,
nice, so if we have Jerry add those to this,
yes,
very sure, we will make sure that that's in the package, and we'll just zip it through the Board of Selectmen the night before your next meeting, so it'll be ready for
very good, and
for
we'll,
you to hit the ground running on the 13th.
good, and in that way, at the Board of Selectmen meeting, we can inform the public that these pool and security upgrades are being
Right.
added to our
Right.
project, that is great.
Exactly.
All right, and then, Jeff, I assume you'll be able to report to the Board of Education as you go along. Feel free to, maybe get on their agenda to keep them up to speed as well.
Yes, will do.
Terrific. Okay, so in advance of the next meeting, let's make sure that we, so if we're going to talk about security upgrades, because we don't have any material yet on what the details are, and we'll need the pool.
We'll have the pool with the reports in draft form and should be complete hopefully early next week. And I
Okay.
can forward that to the committee.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll make plans from there on
I'm sure you
how,
can't forward out.
well,
but-
but if we're doing it remotely, we'll have to consult with the town attorney to see how we'll
Right.
keep
Best way to
security
do it.
documentation secure.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I just ask a quick question? One concern of mine, and it's probably the biggest issue facing the building, is capacity. I know it's not the charge of this committee, but it's probably something we need to at least discuss.
Right, and this is something that Christine brought to the Board of Selectmen to put on our radar screen.
Yes.
I do think at this point, it is outside our scope.
Right.
Thank you for bringing it up, though, because this would be the right time to, I think that this building committee can proceed with an understanding that once we get to actual planning of things, if you're gonna add on to the building, where it joins the rest of the building and where the roof lines would meet and that sort of thing, if we're going to put forward a project that might bear on any further extension. But I do think if you're looking to extend the school and make it any larger, that would be a separate building
I
committee.
agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we obviously want to get funding for these projects, because they're all,
I'd like
Yes,
to,
I too fully agree. I just think we need to at least bring it up so it's in our back of our minds for planning for this committee's purposes.
I probably will
Yeah.
have to be a
Right.
separate
Yeah.
So
committee.
when, whatever you plan will
Right.
conflict.
right,
Potential.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Makes sense.
I want to do something to the exterior wall that's gonna end up being
Right.
blown out, right?
Right.
So-
Right.
Yep.
So I think what I'll do is, Beth, when the Board of Selectmen meets, if you want me to give a brief
Yeah,
update, I
make sure
will
it's on
put
the
this,
agenda.
this item on the table
Yeah.
as well, to say that the building
Right.
committee is acknowledging that there may be a potential need for an expansion, but
Right.
we're not seeing it in our scope, but we will, keep in mind that
Right.
that may be happening and make sure that we don't do something
Exactly.
that clashes with that. Because I would say the expectation here is that this project, this building committee is gonna be hopefully pretty short-lived, because we're talking about projects that can get funded and done.
Yeah, we want to
In
get
the
this out
next
to
year or
a
so?
special town meeting / referendum, whatever is,
Yeah.
hopefully just a special town meeting as soon
Yeah.
as we can, but obviously. Get this
So
done quickly.
let's actually put that on the agenda for the next time. Let's look at a sort of draft project scope, like timeline. Because we'll have to file things at a certain time period, and you're obviously gonna wanna do work when the
Right.
school is not in session in the
Right.
summer.
It would be helpful to know the grant timeline too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure Donna's aware of
Yeah,
that.
that's
for
a
the next
great
meeting.
point, Tony.
Yeah, because
Right.
there's probably certain steps we have to take as a
Mhm.
committee.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that way we
The
can
reason
plan.
why I formed you guys so that we could apply for grants.
Yeah.
I was, remember, somebody brought, either
Yeah.
you or Lynn brought that up at one of our meetings.
And then the other important piece of that piggybacks on what you said in regards to you receive grant monies, and then you had another building project a year or two out that took away some of what
Right.
you received grant
Yeah,
monies
that's
for,
a good
then
point.
you have to reimburse them for
Right, right,
that.
good point.
So that's why it's important too, to
Yeah.
keep that in
Right.
mind as we're deciding what to do, because you don't wanna have to then give the grant money back when you do something
Never,
else.
Never, never, never.
That's not on the
No,
agenda.
no.
All right, so that sounds good. We have an idea of what we're gonna prepare for our next meeting, and I'll report out to the Board of Selectmen. Jeff, you feel free to
Great.
report out. And Donovan, if you wanna
Sure.
report, it should also be kept up to date,
Yep.
because it is gonna have financial impacts, so.
Yeah.
All right, well,
So
with
I-
that,
I just had
Can
a-
I-
just had a quick question on my end. Do we have a source document we're using to determine what repairs are needed, or are we independently doing that ourselves? Or
come forward in terms of details of what needs to be included. I know we have, under number 5 in our charge, we have some specific responsibilities. Green energy, et cetera, so.
I know we have, obviously, there's the pool report, that's one
Yeah.
document.
Mhm.
Another document is the one the board did years ago now by Fuss and O'Neill,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
right?
Yeah.
So that was on the grounds.
Mhm.
You have security.
Yeah.
Security report, right?
And I believe they had one for the roofing as well.
And there's one.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Did I
Yep.
see?
I know myself, just walking to school, just
Mhm.
my visual of just being at the school with my kids, I see a ton of stuff as simple as painting, just coat of paint, or getting rid of weeds and all that stuff. Just small
Yeah,
little
we-
things.
There is
wondering-
some,
social, you can barely walk, you know, me limping with my scooter a few months ago, it's a disaster. That's why we
Yeah,
talked about
yeah.
bringing north the parking lot and that whole area in the back. The roads are terrible. I don't know about the Kazinskas Loop, if there's any updates on.
I walked it the
that.
other day.
Uh,
So with regard to the Kazinskas Loop, when we put that in, we talked about the maintenance being done by the recreation department, but that's not, like, I don't think it's
I
in
don't
anyone's
think that's
budget.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to bring that up to
Right.
speed and go from there. I will also say that Coopop spoke the other night about their accessibility to playgrounds and ball fields project that they've included in their ARPA
Right,
funding.
exactly.
So maybe that's something that you can provide for us. What is the school using its federal COVID-related grants for? Because there may be some overlap here as well.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Most of it is for staffing, so there really is not a great deal that will be left, but certainly Donna and I can provide that information for you.
Great. Okay, and as the Board of Selectmen makes decisions about what to inform the public is on our agenda for funding with the ARPA grant, I think that we should keep
We're
it.
getting close, so.
Yeah, we need to be getting close
Yeah,
because
we are.
it's
Yeah,
it's
we have
available.
2 more requests for more ARPA money.
Yes, I know. We're gonna, the longer we,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
the
that's-
longer we work
you're
on it,
right,
the more
you're right.
requests we're gonna have.
You're right, you're right.
Yeah.
But I would say that accessibility at the school, which is including those pathways, should
We
definitely.
did get that steep grant, so, you know,
Yeah.
for the center gym, so at
Yeah.
least that takes some, not a lot, but a
We'll
little bit
arrange
of
those up.
piece of the ARPA money.
All right, so maybe what we can do is the strategic planning committee, which is in charge of kind of refining that list, could provide some information to this group as well to say, well, these things might be funded this way, so they don't need to be here.
Right.
So we will have to piece together at some point where the funding will come from for everything that we envision.
I think a majority of it is gonna be from bonds. I mean, this is a
Nope.
project that we're gonna take on and the voters are gonna approve it
Yeah.
to get it done.
But as much grant money as we can possibly
Yeah,
get. for it,
exactly,
so,
I know,
yeah.
you know,
All right, so that's all for the next agenda.
good.
Anything else?
Yeah, if I could bring up one point, I'm glad we have these established hybrid meetings, but I would strongly recommend an on-site meeting or two just to get a feel, the scope of work and some very visual ideas of what's going on.
That's a great
I
idea.
know, once you see
Yeah, I
it,
love that.
All right, and if,
it's a great idea.
is that something that can take place during school hours? Should it be after, before, on the weekend? I'm not sure if you want us traipsing around in your building.
Yeah, I think it should be after school
Okay,
hours.
good.
To me, it doesn't matter then if it's evening or weekend, but I do believe it should be after hours. Or
Okay.
before hours, but as we know, that's really early.
Yeah, yeah. And
And it'll probably be dark outside too,
Yeah.
so.
very soon. And then
Yep.
extended day leaves the building at 5:30 or 6?
6, yeah, and so I'm comfortable with some of the after-school programs being there and us being present because it's less volume in the
Yeah.
school. So we really wouldn't interfere with the day-to-day flow of what's going on. So if I know in advance, I can let them know, you may see a group of people walking around and it'll be fine.
Okay,
All right,
so at our next meeting, I think we can plan, maybe the meeting after that, a special time, and we'll go over it. But that's a good idea. We do need to see in person what we're talking about here. All right, anything else? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the first meeting.
All right. All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much. We stand adjourned.